Hello everyone. We are going to start with the library classes chapter also next time. So let me just give you a brief idea of what library classes are all about. In the library classes chapter, we'll be doing wrapper classes. Now, what are wrapper classes? What is a wrapper basically? Wrapper basically is something like a toffee wrapper, a toffee which is covered with a wrapper. Okay. So, what are wrapper classes about? We use wrapper classes when we need the primitive data in an object form. That means I don't want int data in int form. I want it in as an object. So that means the 10, I don't want it as an int. I want it as an object. So we use wrapper classes then. Wrapper classes allow instantiation of primitive data types. Now, each primitive type has a corresponding wrapper class. For example, on the left side, I have given all the primitive data types, and on the right side, I have given all the wrapper classes, corresponding wrapper classes for each of those primitive types. So, as you can see, the names are exact all the same, except that the wrapper class, because it is a class, it is actually starting with a capital letter. Now, byte has a wrapper class called byte, short has short, int has integer. So, by the way, int and char are the only two which have a different wrapper class name, mainly because these are short names. So the wrapper class actually is a long name, is a full name. So int is actually represented by a wrapper class integer, whereas char is represented by a wrapper class character. So first thing that you need to remember is that each primitive data type has a corresponding class. So if I need an int to be in object form, I will use the class called integer. So let us understand that first. Uh, let's see. If I write, if I have a variable called num1 which has a value of 10, so we normally use something like this. I say int num1 is equal to 10. So that is a fairly simple thing. But I don't want 10 as an int variable. I want it as an object. So how do I do it? I can do it like this. I can just say integer num2 is equal to 10. So because integer is now a class, num2 variable will actually be an object containing the value 10. So what is the basic difference between num1 and num2? Num1 is a variable containing a value 10, whereas num2 is an object containing a variable 10. So both of them are containing 10, yes, no doubt. But num1 is an open variable. This is not an object. Num1 is a variable containing a value of 10, whereas num2 is an object containing. That means it's basically a container containing, a bigger package containing a value 10. And now how do I create the object? I can create it using a normal object thing like we normally do. Like we create objects of demo class and stuff like that. So I could have said integer num2 is equal to new integer 10. This will also create num2 as an object containing a value of 10. So to be clear, num1 and num2 both of them are containing the value 10, but both of them are in different formats. Both are, one is in a primitive format. It is a primitive variable. It does not have any functions or anything. It's simply a variable. Whereas num2 basically is an object of a class. Naturally, it will have some methods also associated with it. Okay. The auto boxing and unboxing I will be doing in class. You can go through this. You can read through whatever I've given over here. Uh, we will be doing that in class. That's a little complicated to explain here. But the four topics that we need to do here is boxing and auto boxing, and then we have unboxing and auto unboxing. So these four things we'll be doing it in class. Not a big deal, but I need to do it face to face. Now, next thing that for the class that you need to remember now, just remember all these methods. You can understand. I can let me group them. Let me group them. See, the first two methods that I'm talking about are integer class methods. These are long class methods. These are float class methods. These are double class methods. So that means these are belonging to the double class. And because I'm using a class name to execute these methods, naturally you can understand that value of and parseInt and parseLong, all these methods would be static. Now, each of these methods, first of all, these are 8 methods here. Now, each of these methods, let's do the first two, and the first two are parseInt function, which belongs to the integer class. Naturally, I'll be using integer.parseInt. I pass it a string, and what does it return to me? It returns a primitive int. No problem there. Next is a value of function, which also belongs to integer class, and if I pass it a string, it returns an integer. So what is the difference? So if I pass it a 12, this will actually return a 12. But if I pass this a 12, it is actually going to return to me a 12 inside an object or as an object. So the next class is long class, and long class also has a parse method and a value of method. Class also has a parse method and value of method. Double also has a parse method and value of method. And you can see that every parse method is actually something with a small letter. That means these are all primitive. The first is long, which is primitive, float, which is primitive, double, which is primitive. But the value of method is basically returning a double with a capital D. Naturally, this is an object of double class, and float is an object of float class, and long is an object of long class. So if you remember one, you remember all. So there is no worry at all. Last but not the least is the character class. This class has 8 methods, and you can imagine how you can imagine each class is returning all these methods, like all the first 6 of them are actually starting with is, and you should know that all the methods which start with is always return a boolean. So is digit or is letter or digit, is lowercase, is uppercase, is white space. Now when are they going to return a true? If the value are 0 to 9, it will return a true. If the value is a character, whether it is a capital letter or a small letter, it will be returning true. That means A to Z, doesn't matter whether it is capital or small. Okay. So next is letter or digit, whether it is 0 to 9 or A to Z, it will always be returning true. Is lowercase, if this is a lowercase letter to Z, which is lowercase, it will return a true. Is uppercase, it will, if the thing is in capital letters, it will be returning true. Is white space, if this is a space, it will return true. And the last two methods basically are two lowercase and two uppercase. That means you pass it a character, it will return it in lowercase in this case and up to uppercase in this case. For example, if I pass it an capital A, it will be actually converting it to a small a. Similarly, if I have this is a small a, sorry, this is a small a, this will be converting it into capital A. How am I going to use it? I'll try to show some of them. So if I write if is letter in in bracket, I say B. So this is going to be let me use the true uppercase thing. So if I have a char variable, say char s is equal to character character dot to uppercase function, say small a, s actually will contain a capital. Okay, so if I have s will actually contain a capital A. Okay, I think that is all for today. You just go through the text that I've sent and also go through the rest of the video and try to understand whatever I'm trying to explain to you. Thank you and have a nice day or night, whatever it is.